Hey guys, Virgin Vinyl with you again today. So I just want to clarify a little bit what I'm doing here. Some people seem to be a little bit confused um, when I post these videos in Facebook and other groups and stuff, just to try and get a little bit of traffic. Because like if you look at my channel, it's brand new. I've been doing this channel. I have another channel which I've been doing for a few years, which is dedicated just to metal. But this channel I just started because I just started collecting vinyl in November last year. And, if you read the channel description, it explains that. And the first video I made, I explain all of that. But basically, I collected CDs all my life growing up. I had amassed a huge, many thousands of CDs over the years, mostly metal and jazz and prog, but some other stuff as well. And so like when I moved overseas, the situation financially for us was pretty fucking stretched to the limit, and I just couldn't afford to ship all those CDs over. So, and mistakenly at the time, what I should have done really is put it in storage or something until I could save up the money to ship it. The crazy thing is that I had moved overseas 10 years before, not 10 years, 6 years earlier. And that time I shipped everything I had, and it cost me a fortune. It was a giant pain in the ass. That's why I was sort of reticent to do it this last time that I moved, which is now like 8 years ago. And and also I was like, well, I've got all my music that the main stuff that I like out of that collection. I've got, digitally now anyway. I've sort of, loaded every CD into iTunes back in the day. And every time I bought a new CD, I would put it into iTunes so I could listen to it on my iPod and then later on my phone. Anyway, so I thought, mistakenly, yeah, I can live without it. I can live without it. But I as soon as I got over here and after a while, that old collector in me, the guy that liked to go and buy physical product and to own physical product, really missed it. For years I missed it. And then, I would watch YouTube channels with some of my favorite music YouTubers, and, they always have their CDs to show or their vinyls to show or something like that. And it kills me because I have that history too, but I don't have it anymore. I left it back in Australia. I spread it out amongst friends. I gave it all away pretty much. I gave most of it to a few friends, knowing that some of them were more interested in music than others. But it was more like a favor to me. Like, can you please take it? Because I've got nothing to do with it, and I didn't have the time. Really, I had so much stuff to organize for the trip overseas that I didn't have the time, and I had a newborn baby at the time. So I had my hands full, and that was kind of like not my top priority. But now when I look back on it, I regret it. I wish I'd put it in storage, saved up some money, and brought it over. But anyway, that's not what happened. So I lost my, let's say, last time I counted it, it was around the 5,000 mark. Well, it was over 5,000 when I counted it, just over. And I kept buying CDs, so I never counted it again. So I don't know, but it was, let's just say five and a half, something like that, 5,500 CDs, which is a lot of CDs. It's a lot of music. It's a lot of money that I spent. Plus I had a huge movie collection too. I had VHSs, a lot of VHS tapes, and then DVDs and Blu-rays, all of that gone. But the desire to collect never fucking went away. And so like I was umming and ahhing and trying to decide, like, should I start with CDs again? There's like the positives about CDs are many. There's many positives about CDs. Of course, they're cheaper. You can get more albums much easier on CD, and they tend to last longer. And you don't have to take care of them in the same sort of way, and it's a different thing. But I felt like that was kind of depressing to fucking buy CDs from scratch again, like to start from zero with CDs. It was killing me, the thought of it. I don't know. And I was always like kind of a little bit jealous of my friends who collected vinyl. And I was like, you know what? Okay, I know it's a bit more expensive and it's more difficult to manage. Although, you know, to be honest, I didn't really realize like the intricacies of being a vinyl collector until I started. But it's probably something I'll talk about once I get to some milestone with this, like the first 100 records or something. But I thought, you know what, fuck it. Let's start, but I'll start with vinyl. And, you know, like, to, you know, not just have the physical product again, but, you know, like the way, you know, especially because most of the stuff I like is older music. So in a lot of way, for a lot of albums, that's the way the albums were, you know, intended. That's the way that the artists produced these albums to go to vinyl and to sort of play out that way. So it's cool to hear that. It's cool to have it in its kind of original form. And there's definitely pros and cons, you know. But I have to say, I very quickly have become a full-on junkie. I've spent way too much money. I just don't have the money to be buying records the way I've been buying them. I've got like about 80 records here since November, and I've bought, like, I'm traveling to visit my dad in the States in July. In July, and I've already ordered like 21 albums which are waiting at his place for me to pick up when I get there. So and there's more that I want to buy. Like those are mostly secondhand jazz fusion stuff like that. But I also want to, when I'm over there, I want to buy like a bunch of stuff from Hell's Headbangers and get some metal stuff that I can't get over here. So maybe another 10 albums from Hell's Headbangers, and then I also want to hit the shops and see what I can scrounge around over there, you know, and maybe find some like little hidden pieces of gold, you know, which is always fun. Anyway, I'm telling you all that because you know, I get some people, like when I post in Facebook, they give me these sort of sarcastic comments, or like just put a laugh emoji on your fucking post and don't say anything. It's like, look, I don't expect you to like everything I like, and I don't expect you to give a fuck about me either doing this. You don't have to watch it, but like, what do you give a fuck if I do? You know, it's just for fun. I'm not making any money out of it. I'm not getting anything out of it. Like 20 people watch the fucking thing, maybe, if I'm lucky, you know? So it's just for fun. I just like talking about records. I like talking about music. You know, I would like it even more if there was other people on the other end of these videos talking back and telling me, yeah, I love that album too. What about this? You know, I saw them back in blah, blah, blah at this venue at this year, and I fell in love with them then. All of that stuff. It's really interesting to me. I don't know. I'm a music nerd. Yeah, like I really don't understand, like, I do understand, because just the world is full of fucking sarcastic assholes, and, you know, people hate to see anybody having, you know, like any sort of what they perceive as naivety or something like that. Like they think I'm just sort of this naively sort of shooting into the ether some like unwanted opinion. It's like, okay, it's just my opinion. Who gives a fuck? You don't have to agree. And in fact, like, instead of putting a laugh emoji on the fucking post, tell me why I'm wrong, and let's have a discussion about it. Don't, like, you're also in a music group on Facebook, right? Why are you there? Aren't you there to fucking talk about music? Like, have a difference of opinion. Maybe your eyes will get open to something new. That's happened to me. I've got an open mind. If somebody makes a good argument for something, I'll be like, okay, I'll check it out. You know, it won't always convince me. You know, I know a really, really intelligent guy who has like very, very high IQ, genius level IQ, and he pretty much knows a little bit about every fucking thing you could imagine, from science to technology to politics to economics to health, you name it. The guy is fucking genius level smart, but he loves fucking new metal, right? And I hate new metal. I really fucking hate it. Not losing sleep over it kind of hate, but I just don't like it. And you know, I think it's dumbass music, really. But he has made the argument to me in really articulate ways about why he thinks Korn is really good, you know, or why Limp Bizkit is really good. And it's really interesting. It's interesting to hear another perspective like that. And it's sort of like, it makes you sort of go back and reassess your own preconceived biases about things. And so it, not in that case that I've just offered did it work, but I've had other times where I've listened to somebody make an argument about music that I was maybe not hating, but like maybe ambivalent to, and it's made me sort of think, well, that's an interesting point. Let me go back and listen to it from a different perspective. And it's gone on to become, you know, music that I love. So, like, you know, the Herbie Hancock Mawandishi band, Sextant, right? I used to hear people say like, oh, it's so amazing, but they would never really articulate it. And then I was listening to Andy Edwards talking about that era of the band, and the way he put it forward, it made me really go back. And even though I had bought all those albums because I was a Herbie Hancock fan and I really wanted to know, they just didn't really connect with me. But from his perspective, he gave me a new way of looking at it, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'll try and look at it through that lens. And it's funny how your perception of things can change, you know, when you look at things through a different paradigm, and all of a sudden you can find yourself enjoying it. So all of that is to say that, like, these people online who all they want to do is kind of tear you down, all they want to do is be fucking negative all the time, and all they want to do is like sort of I don't know, crush somebody's perceived naive opinion about something, even though it's not naive. And I've been around long enough to have a valid opinion about these things. I mean, I'm 45 years old, okay? I know there's guys out there who are fucking 55 or 65 and they're like, oh, you're still a kid. But I'm not fucking 20 anymore. And I've been listening to music since I was a little kid and obsessed with it. I've been playing music since I was a kid. I played clarinet in the orchestra and I sang in choirs all through school, all through little school. Then I played guitar from high school all the way up until today. I play guitar. I'm a pretty damn good bass player, a pretty decent guitarist, and I can play drums. I can play I'm fucking, you know, I have gigged, I've toured, I've recorded albums, you know, so I've got a right to have an opinion about these things. And even if I didn't do any of those things, hey, we've all got a right to have a fucking opinion, all right? You don't have to like it, you don't have to listen to it, but don't just put a laugh react or something like that. Tell me why I'm wrong. It's interesting. Let's let's hash it out. Maybe you'll convince me, or maybe I'll convince you, and all of a sudden you'll have new music to like. Anyway, this video is going on quite a long time, and it's not really what I intended when I first started this, but this was actually going to be Peter Gabriel episode, and the album that I brought was Peter Gabriel's debut album after he left Genesis, of course. There's the back there. All right, this is a I think this is, I think it's a British pressing, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I've already talked about Peter Gabriel a fair bit on the Genesis videos and on the other Peter Gabriel album that I talked about already. But this one's really, the thing that I find really interesting about Peter Gabriel in context of like the modern way that we look, that the pop music world exists, is that when Peter Gabriel left Genesis, he really sort of embraced a much more pop aesthetic, but he still was innovative, and he was still embracing the sort of weirdness that's a part of his character, and it's all throughout his albums. You know, there's these pop sensibilities, there's these hooks, there's this sort of universality about it, right, that makes it pop. But there's also this drive to do something original, and there's this sort of he's trying to innovate. On this album, it's like he's just getting started with it. There's still some holdovers from the sort of Genesis sound, you know, and like songs like the Moribund, the Burgermeister is kind of very Genesis-y. The Incredible Salisbury Hill is like a perfect pop song, really, isn't it? It's just a gorgeous song. It's really a perfectly written, perfectly performed, really a masterpiece of pop music. I love it. Modern Love is great. Yeah, I don't really care for the Barbershop Quartet. Excuse me. It's technically done really well and everything like that. It's executed nicely, but I don't need Barbershop Quartet. I just don't need that in my life. Humdrum is really beautiful. So that song kind of ruins the first. It doesn't ruin it, but it's like it makes. If that song, Excuse Me, wasn't there, it would be a perfect side one for me. Which one is the one? Is it? I can't remember. I don't know this album that like super well, but I can't remember if it's Waiting for the Big One or Down the Dolce Vita. I think it's Waiting for the Big One. That's the other one I don't like on here. I can't remember which one's which now. That's annoying me. Anyway, there's also one song on side 2 that I don't like, but the rest of it I fucking love. So really, really cool album. Of course, after this album, he would sort of drop a lot of, well, the second album still has kind of some holdovers of the rock, you know, but then once you get into Melt or 3 or whatever you want to call it, the first 4 albums are all just self-titled. So this one's sort of known as Car, but it's not really Car, it's just Peter Gabriel. And the second one is Scratch, with the hands down the thing, and I don't like that one quite as much as this. This one and Melt are my 2 favorites, I think. I love those albums. And the 4th one's really good too. But like, for example, like the innovation stuff I was talking about, you know, on the 3rd album, he like insisted that the drummer didn't play any cymbals on that album. So if you listen to it, there's no sound, there's no cymbals at all on that album, which is really unique. And I mean, that's what I mean. Like he's always trying to do something that's new and cutting edge, and you got to respect that. You know, he's pushing himself artistically, and I think for me, like that's what makes art compelling. You know, you don't have to be. Sometimes when I talk to my friends about this, people think that like everything has to be super complex for me to like it, but that's not true at all. For me, it's about what I find compelling from an artist is when they're pushing themselves, pushing their abilities to the limit. So if they have limited abilities, but they're pushing themselves, you can sort of hear that tension in the music, and it makes it exciting, it makes it more interesting. It makes it compelling. And I think Peter Gabriel's always doing that. He's always pushing himself. He's reaching for something, and sometimes he hits the mark and it's beautiful and it's perfect, and other times he misses it. But what's incredible is that, you know, these are considered like, and as you move on into like So and Us, he's considered a pop artist, you know, like, man, I wish we had some Peter Gabriels around today. I mean, he's still around, and the albums he's doing are still pretty good, although I don't love them that much. But like, you know, people who are that innovative and that interested in doing something that's really pushing themselves to the limit, that's interesting. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who are going to be saying that there are plenty of artists doing that, but I guess they're not doing it in any way. I haven't heard anybody in the mainstream of music in the pop world do anything interesting, really. I mean, I think for me, the pop world ended in the 80s. I don't even, there's not, I think even in the 90s, I started to hate everything that was popular. Anyway, fantastic album. I love Peter Gabriel. I love his weirdness, his quirkiness. I love that he's this, he's this posh English boy, posh schoolboy that sort of went down the prog rabbit hole and created like one of the greatest prog bands, with the other Genesis guys, of course, to ever grace the earth. And then he went off and created for himself like one of the coolest and most original sort of art rock / pop careers, around. So that's really cool. Anyway, guys, bit of a weird one today, bit of a ranty sort of one today. I'm in a weird mood. I'm just sort of, I don't know, it shouldn't annoy me, like, cause why should I care, like, what people say online and stuff like that? And it doesn't really, but like, I don't know. Every once in a while, like if I'm feeling a bit low in myself, or if I'm feeling like, I'm living in a fucking war zone, and so sometimes things are fucking tense. And I've been sick lately and feeling like shit, and I'm fucking broke. And I've got this fucking junkie habit now, which, I might talk about that in a later video. So every once in a while, the negativity cracks through me, and I guess we end up with a rant like this. But I think I'll leave it there. But if you've come this far, thanks for watching. You're fucking awesome. Hit subscribe and all of that stuff. And I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully, if I'm still fucking here.